Hola, hello. This is Yuridia, your host from Legal Conversation Show. How are you today? Today's topic is going to be about criminal law, and it's going to be basically how this criminal law applies to non-US citizens. And remember, we do this show in English and Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo están? Habla Yuridia, su presentadora de Legal Conversation Show. El tema que vamos a tener va a ser de las leyes de criminales, le llaman aquí en Estados Unidos, que es penalista. Y acuérdense, vamos a hacer el programa en inglés y en español. Today's guest is going to be our good friend, the attorney Chinedu Igbokwe. How are you today?
Well, good. I'm good.
El día de hoy vamos a tener al abogado muy amigo de nosotros, que es Chinedu Igbokwe. ¿Cómo está, señor?
Bien.
Muy bien?
Bien.
Okay. We're going to start with the criminal law topic. We're going to talk about three main topics, which is DUIs, domestic abuse, and then sexual assaults on minors. El día de hoy vamos a hablar de los tres temas más comunes, que son los DUIs, que es por conducir ebrio o bajo la sustancia de ya sea alcohol o de drogas. También vamos a hablar de abuso doméstico y por último vamos a hablar de los acosos o abusos sexuales a los menores de edad. ¿Ok? Entonces vamos a empezar con el primer tema. We're going to start with the DUI. El día de hoy vamos a empezar con el tema de DUI. Mr. Chinedu, explain to us, what is DUI?
DUI is just driving under the influence of an alcohol or drug that is not prescribed by your doctor.
Okay. And how does this apply? How does a person get a DUI?
Obviously, if you go out or drink and you go over the legal limit, which is 0.08.
Zero what?
0.08.
0.08.
Per
Okay.
210 grams of alcohol.
Alcohol. Okay.
Then your
That is
legal-
about 1 cup of wine or 2
Well,
glasses or how
it
many?
depends on your metabolism, your body size, and your tolerance. But on average, if you have 4 cans of beer, more likely than not, you will have a DUI.
That is enough to.
Yes, found you legally impaired.
Okay.
You could still be driving well, be okay, but if you do a blood test, you have a high chance of being above 0.08.
Okay. So obviously, it's not just the crime in here is not drinking alcohol. The crime in here is driving
While you're drunk, correct?
while you're drunk.
Drinking alcohol is not a crime in the US. Driving after you drank, that's a crime.
Okay. And that includes only cars. What about motorcycles, bicycles, or most time it's just driving? Let's
Driving
just
a
say
vehicle.
Driving a vehicle. Okay. So no drinking and driving at the same time.
Correct.
Okay. And then the alcohol level is 0.08. Okay. Le estaba preguntando al abogado los casos de DUI, de manejar ebrio, que por lo regular el nivel de alcohol es de 0.08. Entonces te hacen una prueba y si sales más de eso significa que te van a dar una multa de DUI, que es como alrededor, dependiendo del metabolismo de la persona, pero es alrededor de unos 4 botellas de cerveza, se puede decir. Okay, now explain to us, explain to us how many DUIs will get you to jail as a U.S. citizen?
Well,
Or it
as a
depends?
US citizen, your first DUI subjects you to about 2 days in jail. Actually, it's not 2 days in jail. 7 to 60 days in jail if you don't get probation. If you get probation, the first offense, you get 0 jail time and up to 120 hours of community service.
Okay.
If the DUI is aggravated, then you're talking 30 to 90 days in jail. And if you get probation, you have to do 10 days in jail.
10 days a day?
10
What
days
is
a-
aggravated?
When your alcohol level is 0.15.
Really? Just having the alcohol level higher is aggravated?
Well, it's 0.08. So if you have 0.09, you're not aggravated. 0.10, you're not aggravated. 0.13, you're not aggravated. But once your alcohol level gets to 0.15 and above, that's aggravated.
Okay. And that just means more time in jail or like this?
More time in jail, more penalty, longer probation, more fine.
So let's just say I get a DUI. So they take me to jail that same day?
It's up to the officer. Most times, yes.
Yes. Then they bail me out and then it is recommended to go seek for a lawyer.
Of course.
How do you help people like that?
Well,
but I'm an immigrant, I'm not U.S. citizen, let's just say that.
Well, the first thing we do if you're out of jail is to get you to do an alcohol evaluation. The objective of the court is to see that you're trying to help yourself. You're trying to seek help, get treatment, because they understand that drinking and driving is a disease. So a lot of people are alcoholics, they have drinking problems, so they don't necessarily want you to go to jail. If you can get an alcohol evaluation and follow all the recommendations and go to AAA, show that you're trying, then you're looking at probation.
Probation. Ok. Estamos explicando al abogado de qué es lo que le pasa a una persona o cuánto tiempo le dan a una persona si lo arrestan por el DUI, ¿no? Entonces, estaba diciendo que dependiendo, si es la primera ofensa, son de 7 a 60 días, si es que no le dan probation. Si le dan probation, puede hacer 120 horas de servicio comunitario. Todo depende también del nivel de alcohol, si es agredido. Un tema, se puede decir, de agravación es de 0.15. Ya de 0.15 o 0.15 ya es aggravated. Entonces, prácticamente es lo que está diciendo el abogado. Cuando te arrestan de eso, por lo regular te llevan a la cárcel y de ahí te van a dar corte. Y tienes que seguir con tu caso y ahí es cuando tú vas con el abogado y el abogado te explica cuál es el paso. Uno de los pasos que él estaba diciendo era de que hacen una evaluación de alcohol porque muchas personas pues tienen un problema de alcohol que es una enfermedad. Entonces ahí es cuando les ayuda el abogado con la evaluación. So the first thing that they do is the evaluation.
Well, that's what a good lawyer would try to do, is to show that you're taking steps to remedy the problem by getting an alcohol evaluation and following all the recommendations that the therapist gives.
Okay, muy bien. Bueno, eso sería una buena recomendación de un abogado que cuando tú vas y te dieron esta multa, que te hagan una buena evaluación de alcohol para que puedas ir con terapia o algo, como dice el abogado, esto fue una enfermedad, entonces para que le dé mejor caso. Now, if you are a U.S. citizen, right? You go to jail, you get arrested, you go to jail, you pay your fine, evaluation, everything, and you're out. But what if you're not a U.S. citizen? What's the difference when you get a DUI?
You're subject to immigration taking an interest in you. Now, if you have your permanent resident card, they might not come after you for the first DUI, or by the time you hit your third DUI, they will come after you. If you don't have your resident card, after your first DUI, you should start looking over your shoulder. By your second DUI, it's just a matter of time. You'll be arrested by immigration.
It's just a matter of time. Does that apply if you're here as an international student or
everybody?
Everybody. Okay, good. Bueno, entonces aquí la pregunta es, ¿cómo es que le afecta a uno una multa de un DUI por manejar ebrio si tú no eres ciudadano americano, si tú eres un inmigrante? El abogado está diciendo de que si tú eres residente, se puede decir, si tú tienes la residencia, ya a lo mejor la primera no te dice nada, pero ya la segunda y la tercera ya sí van a empezar a llamar a inmigración y es cuando tienes que llamar a un abogado. Definitivamente, si tú no tienes nada de papeles, de documentos, si eres nada más turista o estudiante aquí que no tienes residencia o ciudadanía americana, ahí sí te van a llamar la atención. A lo mejor se le escapa una, pero ya la segunda ya sí vienen y te agarra migración y es muy importante consultar con un abogado sobre eso. Ok. The next topic that we're going to talk, el próximo tema que vamos a hablar ahora is de violencia doméstica. The next topic that we're going to talk now is going to be about domestic abuse. What is, for some of us that haven't lived in this country for too long, or just educate us, what is domestic abuse?
Domestic abuse is where you use violence or force against an intimate partner or wife. So if it's your girlfriend and you live with her, it's considered an intimate partner. And if you guys get into an argument and you decide to push her down the stairs, that's domestic violence. If you decide to slap her just to make her shut up, that's domestic violence.
Okay. Le estaba preguntando al abogado que si qué es violencia doméstica. Y aquí, para las personas que no tienen mucho tiempo viviendo aquí o quieren conocer de las leyes, violencia doméstica se refiere a una pareja que tú tengas íntimo, ya sea que sea tu novia o lo que sea. Si usan fuerza o violencia a esa persona, en contra de esa persona, eso ya se considera violencia doméstica. Por ejemplo, si le empujaste de las escaleras, si le pegaste, le cacheteaste, todo eso es violencia doméstica. Now that we know what domestic abuse is, what are the penalties? Like, what are the charges here in the state of Nebraska?
Depending on the nature of the crime and violence, whether there was serious bodily injury or there wasn't serious bodily injury, or it's your first time, second time, or third time, it goes from a class 1 misdemeanor all the way to a felony. And because for immigration purposes, domestic violence or assault is considered a COV, crime of violence, that is another offense that will get immigrations hunting you down like a terrorist.
Really?
Yes.
Domestic abuse?
Yes, even more than DUI.
More than DUI?
Because with domestic abuse...
Because it's not COV? DUI is not COV, or
it's not COV. DUI is not a crime of violence. Domestic violence is a crime of violence.
Ok, información muy importante para esos de los casos de violencia doméstica. Aquí en los Estados Unidos la violencia doméstica se considera un caso que es de una COV. En inglés se llama crime of violence, right? COV, crime of violence. ¿Qué significa eso? Crimen de violencia, COV. Ese código no es muy aceptable en inmigración, se puede decir. Y inmigración, cuando sepan que tú tienes un cargo de violencia doméstica, te van a buscar como si fueras un terrorista. Es muy importante de que consulten con un abogado cuando se trata de violencia doméstica. Ahora, la violencia doméstica ya dijimos de qué era, ¿no? Ahora, hay diferentes cargos. Puede ser de misdemeanor del 1 hasta felonía del 2, del 1, ¿no? Entonces puede ser dependiendo si hubo sangre, se quebraron algo, qué tan grave es el daño. Ahí se van a dar cuenta qué tipo de cargos van a hacer. Entonces es muy importante de que consulten con un abogado cuando tienen una ofensa de violencia doméstica, especialmente si eres inmigrante, porque te afecta con inmigración, te va y te busca. The last one, the last question that we have about criminal law is sexual assault on minors. So we basically want to explain that to us.
Well, in America, it is a crime for somebody that is above the age of 19 to have any kind of relations sexually with someone that is below 14, actually 15, because there can be more than 4 years gap between the two of you. Okay. So obviously, given that cultures are different, in Mexico, after quinceañera, a 15-year-old can get married. In America, you go to prison for that.
And there's no excuses.
You go to prison for that.
Period.
Period.
So there's sometimes...
You go to prison for that.
Period, you go to prison.
Yes.
So even if they give you a fake ID showing...
You go to prison for that.
I'm 21.
Even if their mom...
Even if the mom says yes,
you can date. You go to prison for that.
So the law is very clear. This is a strict liability.
Correct.
Whether it doesn't matter what happens, if you are under the age of 19,
no,
you are a minor.
If you are under the age of 14.
If you are under the age of 14.
And the guy is above 19.
Above 19.
That's
okay.
a major problem. fact, the law actually starts with 16. So if you're above, so you're 20 and they're 16, is a crime, but it's not a serious felony. It's a felony, it's not a serious felony. If they are 14 and you're 22, that's a serious felony. If they are 12 and you're 25, they're going to string you up in America.
Have you had cases like that?
We've had hundreds of cases like that.
Okay. So it happens.
It happens a lot.
And a lot of these clients, what did they tell you? They didn't know
that it's okay in their country,
but not in here.
It's not okay in America.
Okay. So just it's very, 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 very clear. Here in America, 19 is the legal age for having above 19.
For here in America, before you can date somebody that is a girl and you're an adult, you need to be sure they're at least 17 years old.
You need to be sure that they're at least 17 years old.
Or you're not more than 4 years older than them.
Okay.
So if they're 12, you better be 15.
Okay.
If they're 5 years old, you better be 9 years old or 8 years old.
So 4 years gap.
It can be more than that.
Can be more than that.
So if the baby is 2 years old and you're 6 years old, I guess you guys can try and date. I don't think you'll go to jail for that. But if the child is 16 and you're 32, you're going to prison.
I mean, that's good. I think that's good for protecting the minors.
That is the goal.
That is the goal. And that's why it's a strict liability, right? There's no excuse for that.
Correct.
It is what it is. They're little kids. They're minors. Stay away from that.
Correct.
Just don't do it. Date older women or something, right? Yes. Date older women or something. Let me explain this in Spanish so we understand. Okay, ahora vamos a hablar del caso de acoso sexual o abuso sexual con menores de edad. Aquí en los Estados Unidos, las personas mayores de edad son de 19 años, pero aquí el abogado nos está diciendo de que para tener relaciones con una persona y que no te arresten, que no sea un crimen, no tienes que tener más de 4 años de diferencia. Entonces, por ejemplo, si tú tienes 16 años y tienes relaciones con una persona que tiene 20 años, sí es un crimen, pero no es tan penado. Aquí lo que estamos diciendo de que es penado tener relaciones con niños menores de edad. No lo hagan, simplemente porque no hay una ley que te la pase. ¿Okay? Aquí es para proteger a los menores. No salgan con menores de edad. Si tienen menos de 19 años, 17 años, o sea, no se les acerquen. El abogado dice que ha tenido clientes que porque le dicen, no, pues es que después de los 15 años ya pueden tener novio y qué sé yo. Pero aquí siempre se meten en problemas con la ley, no los van a perdonar, así que es muy importante de que no se metan con menores de edad. Si tenemos que recomendar, mejor que se pongan a tener con mujeres mayores de edad, pero no perdona aquí la ley. Es aquí incluso le llaman strict liabilities para proteger a los menores de edad, ¿ok? Los sábados vamos a tener los vivos para preguntas y respuestas con el abogado. On Saturday, that's where we're going to have you live, just 1 hour of questions and answers about this criminal law. Okay. And then next week, we're going to talk about PI. Okay. Esta semana, el sábado, vamos a tener al abogado que va a hablar de casos penalistas. Y si tienen alguna pregunta, vamos a estar nosotros 1 hora contestando sus preguntas en vivo. Y la próxima semana vamos a tener hablando de los casos de PI, que son de lecciones de accidentes de auto personales. Y ahí vamos a contestar también todas sus preguntas. Pues si les gusta el programa, que les pongan un like, que nos sigan. Thank you very much, Mr. Chinedu, for being here with us and answer these questions.
Thank you for having me.
Remember that if you like this show, you put a like and follow us. Remember that we also on YouTube and on Instagram, and you're all over the place now, Mr. Chinedu. Ya está en todos lados. Acuérdense, no se olviden de hacer un like. Gracias. Bye bye.